Captain Maya Jung stood at the helm of the TSS Defiant, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the vast emptiness of deep space. The massive warship, Earth's most advanced vessel, drifted silently at the edge of the Orion Arm, far from any charted systems. It had been 3 years since the hegemony forced humanity's retreat from colonized space, citing false evidence of weapons development. 3 years of watching their colonies be stripped bare by alien salvage fleets. The Defiant wasn't supposed to exist. When the hegemony delivered their ultimatum, they demanded the dismantling of Earth's entire deep space fleet. Humanity had complied, officially. But the Defiant had been hidden away, its quantum wave drive and advanced AI systems, making it invisible to standard detection methods. "Captain, we're picking up a distress signal," announced Lieutenant Sarah Chen from her tactical station. "It's coming from the Proxima Beta mining outpost." Maya's jaw tightened. Proxima Beta had been one of humanity's most productive thorium mining operations before the Exile. Now it was supposedly under hegemony protection. "Analysis?" Maya asked. "The signal's encrypted using old Earth protocols," Sarah replied. "Whoever sent it knows we're out here." Message decoded. "To any human vessels. We have proof of hegemony corruption. They're systematically suppressing emerging civilizations. Need immediate extraction." First Officer David Okafor moved to Maya's side, his dark eyes reflecting the holographic displays. "It could be a trap." "Of course it's a trap," Maya said. "The question is, who said it?" She studied the tactical overlay. The Proxima Beta facility was positioned in the shadow of a massive asteroid field, perfect for an ambush, but also perfect for a swift escape if you knew the terrain. "Wake up our sleeping giant," Maya ordered. The Defiant's quantum AI core, nicknamed Atlas, hummed to life. Its consciousness spread through the ship's systems like digital synapses firing. Atlas, tactical analysis of Proxima Beta approach vectors. The AI's response was immediate, its androgynous voice resonating through the bridge. Analyzing. Detecting minimal hegemony presence in the sector. However, energy signatures suggest automated defense platforms in the asteroid field. Calculating optimal approach. Maya had served with countless AIs during her career, but Atlas was different. It wasn't just a tactical system. It was the product of humanity's desperate innovation during their exile, combining quantum computing with consciousness transfer technology. Atlas carried the digitized knowledge of Earth's greatest military minds, making it more than just an AI. It was humanity's collective strategic genius given form. "Plot a course through the asteroid field," Maya commanded. "Stealth systems at maximum. If this is a trap, let's make sure we spring it on our terms." The Defiant moved silently through space, its quantum wave drive bending light and gravity around the massive vessel. As they approached Proxima Beta, Maya felt the familiar tension build in her chest. Every mission since their exile had been a calculated risk, gathering intelligence and building a network of allies among other species who'd suffered under hegemony rule. "Multiple contacts," Sarah announced suddenly. "Hegemony signatures emerging from the asteroid field." The holographic display filled with red markers as enemy ships appeared. But something was wrong. Their formation was ragged, uncoordinated. "They're running from something," David observed. A new signal cut through their communications, carrying a voice Maya hadn't heard in years. "Captain Jung, I hoped you'd come. The hegemony thought they could control us all. They were wrong." Maya recognized the voice immediately. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, one of Earth's leading xenotechnologists who'd been presumed lost during the exile. The tactical display shifted, showing a massive structure emerging from behind Proxima Beta's largest asteroid, a research facility that definitely wasn't in any official records. "Elena, what have you done?" "What we had to do, Maya. We've spent 3 years studying the hegemony suppression technologies, learning their weaknesses. The proof is here, evidence of centuries of systematic oppression. But we've also developed something else, something that could change everything. The Defiant's sensors registered a massive energy spike from the facility. Whatever Alina and her team had built, it was powerful enough to send the hegemony ships into a panic. Maya made her decision. They hadn't survived 3 years of exile by playing it safe. All hands, battle stations. Sarah, target those hegemony vessels. David, prepare boarding teams. Atlas, calculate an approach vector to that facility. The Defiant's quantum wave drive pulsed, pushing the massive warship forward. As they engaged the hegemony forces, Maya allowed herself a grim smile. They'd come looking for proof of corruption, but they might have found something far more valuable, a weapon against their oppressors. The battle that followed would be remembered as the beginning of humanity's return from exile. But as the Defiant's advanced weapons tore through the hegemony fleet, Maya knew this was just the first step. The real war, the war for humanity's future and the freedom of countless suppressed civilizations, was about to begin. Deep within Proxima Beta's hidden research facility, Dr. Elena Rodriguez's laboratory told a story of desperate innovation. Holographic displays filled the air with data streams detailing centuries of hegemony manipulation. Captain Maya Zhang moved through the space with measured steps, taking in the magnitude of what they'd discovered. The hegemony's suppression goes beyond mere technological control, Elena explained, her hands dancing through the holographic data. They've engineered their dominance at a fundamental level. Every emerging civilization that shows promise gets systematically dismantled. The facility's quantum core hummed beneath their feet as Atlas integrated with the research station's systems. The AI's presence expanded, processing decades of hidden data in seconds. "Captain," Atlas announced, "I've identified a pattern. The hegemony doesn't just target military advancement. They specifically suppress quantum mechanics research across all civilizations. The technology we developed for the Defiant, they've prevented dozens of species from reaching similar breakthroughs." David Okafor studied a display showing a timeline of civilizations that had approached quantum mastery, only to suffer mysterious setbacks or accidents. They're maintaining technological supremacy by forcing everyone else down predetermined development paths. "Not just technological supremacy," Elena corrected. "Look at this." She brought up new data streams showing complex energy patterns. These are readings from hegemony control centers across the galaxy. They're not just monitoring communications. They're manipulating the very fabric of space-time around controlled systems. Maya's eyes narrowed as she processed the implications. They've created a quantum suppression field across their entire territory. That's why our colonies failed so quickly after the exile. They didn't just take our ships, they made it impossible for us to rebuild. But they didn't account for this facility, Elena said with a hint of pride. "We've been hidden in a natural quantum anomaly. Their suppression field can't penetrate it. That's how we've made such progress." Lieutenant Sarah Chen, who had been quietly analyzing defense data, spoke up. "The hegemony ships we engaged, their retreat wasn't random. They were following a predetermined protocol. We need to move quickly before their absence triggers a larger response." Maya turned to Atlas's holographic interface. "What are we dealing with?" The A's response was immediate. The hegemony's response protocol indicates they will deploy containment fleets to this sector within 72 hours. Standard procedure would be to sterilize the entire area to prevent quantum technology from spreading. "We won't have time to evacuate everything," Elena said. "But we don't need to. The quantum core prototype, it's ready. With your ship systems, we could." "Could what?" Maya pressed. "We could create a cascading quantum wake. The Defiant's drive combined with our research could punch a hole in their suppression field. Not just here, everywhere. Every civilization they've chained down would have a chance to break free." Maya shared a look with David. It wasn't just about humanity anymore. They had stumbled onto something much bigger, a chance to shatter the foundations of hegemony control. "Atlas, begin integration with the facility's quantum core." Elena, I want your team and everything essential on the Defiant in 24 hours. Sarah, coordinate with any sympathetic contacts in nearby systems. If we're going to tear down their control, we need allies ready to act when the opportunity comes. As her crew moved with purpose, Maya studied the galactic map. The hegemony suppression field glowed like a vast web of control across known space. They had spent centuries weaving it, using it to strangle the potential of countless species, but they had never faced a force like humanity, backed into a corner, driven by desperation and innovation. And now armed with the truth. David, Maya called to her first officer. Implement Shadow Protocol. He nodded grimly. Shadow Protocol was their contingency for a full-scale insurgency, a plan they had hoped they'd never need. It would commit them to a path of no return, but the stakes were too high for half measures. As the Defiant's crew worked to integrate Elena's research, Maya received reports from their network of allies. Other suppressed civilizations had been watching, waiting for a sign that resistance was possible. The hegemony had created their own worst nightmare, an alliance of species with nothing left to lose. In 72 hours, the hegemony would arrive expecting to find a simple containment operation. Instead, they would face the beginning of a revolution. Maya allowed herself a moment to appreciate the irony. The hegemony had exiled humanity to protect their control over quantum technology. That exile had given humanity exactly what it needed: the darkness to work in and the motivation to succeed. The war for galactic freedom was about to begin, and it would start with a single ship carrying humanity's defiance and the hopes of countless suppressed civilizations. The Defiant would live up to its name. The Defiant emerged from quantum space at the edge of the Cygnus Void, a region avoided by most civilized species. Here, among the darkness between stars, the Forgotten and the Defiant gathered. Maya watched as signals lit up her tactical display. Ships of various designs and origins, all victims of hegemony suppression, all waiting for a chance at freedom. Atlas's sensors identified vessels from the crystalline Arcturus Collective, organic ships of the verdant consciousness, and even ancient hulks belonging to the silicon-based lithoids. Each civilization had reached for the stars only to be crushed back down by hegemony intervention. Now they converged on the Defiant's signal, drawn by the promise of revolution. Fleet count stands at 300 vessels, Sarah reported, more arriving every hour. The hegemony sensors can't penetrate the quantum distortion field we've established. Elena worked at her newly installed station, monitoring the integration of her quantum core prototype with the Defiant systems. The distortion field is stable, but it's more than just a cloak. Every ship that passes through it is being freed from the hegemony suppression effect. They're regaining access to their full technological potential. Maya nodded. The hegemony's greatest weapon had been their ability to restrict other civilizations' technological development. By creating a space free from their quantum suppression, the Defiant was giving these species back their future. We're receiving a priority transmission from the Arcturus flagship, David announced. They're ready to begin the technological exchange. The next 12 hours saw an unprecedented sharing of knowledge among the gathered species. The Arcturans contributed their mastery of crystalline computing, the Verdant brought their bioorganic engineering, and the lithoids shared secrets of mineral-based power generation. Each piece of technology, freed from hegemony suppression, began to integrate in ways that should have been impossible. Atlas coordinated the exchange, its quantum processors adapting and combining the various technologies. Captain, the combined technological potential of the assembled fleet now exceeds hegemony capabilities by an estimated factor of 3. However, the hegemony still maintains numerical superiority of approximately 15-1. Numbers won't matter, Maya replied, if we strike at the right point. She brought up the galactic map, highlighting their primary target. The hegemony's quantum suppression network has a central control node. Their arrogance in maintaining a single point of failure will be their undoing. Elena looked up from her station. The prototype is ready. Once installed in the control node, It will create a cascading quantum wake that will shatter their suppression field across the entire galaxy. Every suppressed civilization will be freed simultaneously. The hard part will be reaching the control node, David pointed out. It's in the heart of hegemony space, protected by their largest fleet concentration. Maya allowed herself a small smile. That's why we're not going to fight through them. We're going to make them come to us. She turned to her assembled crew. Begin Operation Sundering. The plan was audacious. While the main fleet engaged hegemony forces in a massive battle near the Carina Nebula, the Defiant would use its advanced quantum drive to slip through the chaos and reach the control node. The combined technologies of their allied species had given them capabilities the hegemony couldn't predict or counter. As the fleet prepared for battle, Maya received reports from infiltration teams across hegemony space. Sleeper agents from dozens of species were in position, ready to sabotage key facilities when the suppression field fell. The hegemony had spent centuries building their empire of control, never realizing they were creating an army of enemies just waiting for a chance to strike. All ships report ready, Sarah announced. The Arcturus fleet will lead the first wave. Verdant bioships have seeded the battle space with quantum-enhanced spores that will disrupt hegemony sensor networks. Atlas, Maya called, begin final battle calculations. Upload tactical data to all allied vessels. The AI's response carried a note of what almost sounded like anticipation. Battle plans distributed. Probability of success stands at 63%, the highest odds humanity has faced since the Exile. Maya took her command chair, feeling the combined weight of hundreds of civilizations' hopes resting on their next actions. The hegemony had thought they could control the natural development of life in the galaxy. They were about to learn that suppression only bred stronger resistance. All ships, battle positions, she ordered. Prepare to execute Operation Sundering on my mark. The assembled fleet moved into formation, a sight unseen in the galaxy for centuries. Multiple species united, their combined technology burning bright against the darkness of space. The hegemony's reign of suppression had lasted for generations. It would end in the next 24 hours. The Carina Nebula blazed with weapons fire as the Allied fleet engaged the hegemony's response force. Captain Maya Jung watched from the Defiance Bridge as the battle unfolded according to Atlas' predictions. The AI had calculated this moment down to the microsecond, coordinating hundreds of ships from dozens of species into a symphony of controlled chaos. Hegemony fleet responding exactly as projected, Sarah reported, her hands dancing across the tactical display. Their formation is splitting to counter the Arcturus pincer movement. The crystalline ships of the Arcturus Collective sparkled like deadly jewels as they executed their part of the plan, their advanced weapons now freed from centuries of artificial constraints. The verdant bioships moved like living shadows through the nebula's gases, their quantum-enhanced spores creating patches of distorted space that confused hegemony targeting systems. Elena, status of the quantum wake generator, Maya asked, her eyes fixed on the strategic display. Operating at 97% efficiency, Elena responded from her station. The combined technologies are working better than we hoped. The quantum field is ready for full dispersal once we reach the control node. David moved to Maya's side, his voice low. Third and fourth wave allies are in position. The lithoids have their mineral tech platforms ready to activate on your signal. The plan was working, but Maya knew better than to celebrate early. The hegemony had ruled through technological suppression for centuries. They wouldn't fall without revealing every weapon in their arsenal. Atlas, analysis of hegemony fleet movements. Are they committing their full strength? The AI's response was immediate. Negative. Current engaged forces represent approximately 60% of available hegemony assets in this sector. Energy readings suggest they are holding their most advanced ships in reserve. Maya nodded grimly. They're testing our capabilities, trying to gauge how we broke free of their suppression technology. She turned to her crew. Prepare for Phase 2. We need to make them think they've discovered our weakness. The next hour saw a carefully orchestrated dance of seeming desperation. The Allied fleet appeared to struggle, taking calculated losses while drawing more and more hegemony forces into the nebula. Each retreating movement pulled their enemies deeper into the trap. Hegemony Command Ship is deploying their legendary null field generators, Sarah announced. They think they've found our vulnerability. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The hegemony's pride in their superior technology was about to become their downfall. Signal the lithoids. Begin Operation Fractal. Across the battlefield, dozens of seemingly dormant asteroids suddenly came to life. The silicon-based lithoids had spent centuries perfecting their mineral-based technology, in secret, waiting for this moment. Their crystalline matrices activated, creating a complex web of quantum resonance that turned the nebula itself into a weapon. Hegemony null fields are failing, Elena reported with satisfaction. Their own suppression technology is being turned against them. Maya watched as the enemy fleet's formation began to break. The hegemony had never faced an enemy that could match their technological level, let alone surpass it. Their entire strategy was built around maintaining technological superiority through suppression. All ships, execute attack pattern Delta, Maya ordered. Drive them toward the quantum sync point. The Allied fleet moved with perfect coordination, their combined technologies creating effects that should have been impossible according to known physics. The hegemony ships, for the first time in centuries, found themselves outmatched and outmaneuvered. Captain, Atlas interrupted. I'm detecting massive power signatures from the edge of the nebula. The hegemony is deploying their reserve fleet. Energy readings suggest prototype weapons platforms. Maya had been waiting for this. Patch me through to all Allied ships. When the channel opened, she spoke with clear authority. All forces, this is Captain Zheng. The hegemony is about to deploy weapons they've kept hidden for centuries. Remember your training. Remember why we fight. They thought they could keep us chained forever, but today we show them the power of unity. Execute final attack pattern. The Defiant moves now. As the Allied fleet engaged the hegemony's secret weapons, the Defiant's quantum drive spooled up to full power. They had one chance to slip through the chaos and reach their real target. The battle here was massive, but it was ultimately a distraction from their true objective. All hands, prepare for quantum jump, Maya announced. Elena, divert all power to the wake generator. Atlas, plot us a course through their defense grid. The Defiant vanished into quantum space, leaving behind a battle that would be remembered for generations. The hegemony's attention was fixed on the nebula, never suspecting that their true doom was already racing toward the heart of their empire. Maya watched the quantum tunnel effects swirl around her ship, knowing that the next few hours would determine the fate of countless civilizations. The hegemony had spent centuries ensuring no single species could challenge their rule. They never considered what would happen if those species united. The Defiant materialized in the heart of hegemony space, its quantum wake dissipating around its hull like ghostly fire. Before them bloomed the massive control node, a structure that had maintained the hegemony's suppression field for centuries. Its crystalline surfaces absorbed nearby starlight, a dark monument to technological oppression. Multiple defensive platforms detecting our presence, Sarah reported. Hegemony Home Fleet is responding to our arrival. Maya stood at her command station, watching as the enemy ships moved to intercept them. Elena, status of the quantum wake generator. Charged and ready. One shot at this, Maya. We need to get within 10,000 kilometers of the control node's core. Atlas's holographic interface pulsed with increased activity. Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the control node. The hegemony is initiating an unknown protocol. The space around them began to distort as the hegemony activated their final defense system. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist, trying to push the Defiant away from its target. They're attempting to create a localized quantum exclusion zone, Elena announced, her fingers flying over her controls. They're trying to cut us off from our own technology. Maya's expression hardened. They still don't understand. Atlas, initiate combat pattern Omega. Show them what humanity has learned in exile. The Defiant's quantum core pulsed, its revolutionary drive system responding to Atlas's commands with impossible precision. The ship didn't just move through space, it moved with space, using the hegemony's own distortions as pathways. New contacts. Sarah's voice carried urgent warning. Hegemony dreadnoughts, emerging from quantum space. Their weapons, they're unlike anything we've seen. The massive enemy ships opened fire, their weapons designed to tear apart the fabric of space-time itself. But the Defiant danced through their assault, its hybrid technology adapting and evolving in real time. They're desperate, David observed. They're using weapons they swore didn't exist. Because they know what happens if we succeed, Maya responded. Elena, prepare the wake generator. Atlas, plot us a direct course to the core. All hands, brace for impact. The Defiant accelerated, its quantum field blazing like a newborn star. Hegemony weapons fire splashed against their shields, but the combined technologies of a dozen liberated species held firm. Impact in 30 seconds, Atlas announced. Detecting massive power buildup in the control node, they're attempting to overload their own systems. Maya's voice cut through the chaos. They would rather destroy everything than lose control. Not this time. Elena, initiate the quantum cascade. Sarah, all weapons on their power regulators. David, coordinate with our fleet in the nebula. Tell them to strike now. The Defiant's quantum wake generator activated, sending out waves of pure possibility. The control node's defenses began to crack, centuries of carefully maintained suppression starting to unravel. It's working. Elena shouted over the sound of straining systems. The suppression field is collapsing across all sectors. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, species that had been chained by hegemony technology felt their bonds breaking. The carefully maintained limits on their development shattered like glass. Message from the Allied fleet, David reported, his voice tight with excitement. The hegemony forces are in full retreat. Their technology, it's failing them. Maya watched as the massive control node began to break apart, its power turning inward as Elena's quantum cascade reached its core. The structure that had maintained the hegemony's dominance for so long was destroying itself. All hands, clear the blast radius, Maya ordered. Let them witness the end of their empire. The Defiant pulled away as the control node imploded, taking with it centuries of oppression. In its place, a new quantum wake spread across the galaxy, not one of suppression, but of liberation. Captain, Atlas announced, I'm receiving reports from all sectors. The suppression field is completely gone. All allied species report full access to their technological potential restored. Maya looked at her crew, humans who had refused to accept exile, who had turned their punishment into the seeds of revolution. Send word to Earth. Tell them it's time to come home. As the Defiant set course for Earth, Maya knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where cooperation would replace suppression, where innovation would flourish without chains. The hegemony had feared the potential of other species. In the end, that fear had created exactly what they had tried to prevent: a united galaxy, standing together against tyranny. Humanity's exile had ended not with a whimper, but with the dawn of freedom for all.